2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriot, Aztec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN. Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Hola, señoras and señores. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Interlagos for the fourth round of the EEWC here at GTR 24H. My name's Chris Buxton and I'll be your commentator throughout this 12 hours of this glorious Brazilian tarmac. Well, we've had practice, we've had qualifying, we're just having one final warm-up and Alistair Young is deciding to mow the lawn on the exit of Junxiao in the LMP2. Now, we do have a little bit of a smaller grid than we're used to, but we will have no less racing action. Don't you worry about that, as our competitors will get into the session and get ready to roar. As we've got a practice session just rolling out at the moment, as you can see on the screen. Alistair Young in the SEM 9 axle car. We didn't see the SEM 9 axle LMP2 leading car yesterday in qualifying, so they will be starting near the back. In a 12-hour race, it's not going to make a huge amount of difference, let's be honest, but we are in for an amazing time at Interlagos nonetheless. Very, very much looking forward to that. Let's have a rundown of our championship standings before we have a look at the grid order. And there is the SEM 9 axle car in all its glory. working its way through, doing what practice laps they can before the lights go out. Right, DPI first of all. Let's bring up the fastest of the bunch, and it's burst up top with a mighty lead, 80 points to the good for them, and ahead of the Unison car on 48 points. So I mean, it's very much burst to lose. It's going to be very difficult. With 75 points still on the board, it's not insurmountable, but they'd have to suffer some pretty catastrophic luck to have this one slip away from them. So Unison second, Adrenaline third, Sam 9 Axel, like I said, we didn't see them in the qualifying session. They currently sit in fourth in the DPI class, and so we haven't seen their DPI car thus far, with the Viaducting squad at the bottom of the field in fifth place. LMP2. And there is the championship leading Sam 9 Axel team, a joint with the Burst Esports Gooder car that Damien Scoveron was in earlier on. And now we did see the Burst car, as we said, we didn't see the Sam 9 Axel car. So will that lack of practice hurt them? We will see. We will see. We will see if that is the case. And then Juices in third position. They put on a really strong show yesterday. So look forward to seeing what they can do. Then the 77 Team Iris cars in fourth, with Cyberlinks in fifth, and second Team Iris car. We've only seen the once thus far in the number 7 car in sixth position. For the GTE contingent, let's have a look at our GTEs when the graphic doth change. And there it is. It's Juices up top with a very healthy lead over DIS Sim Racing Lab, and Voice of Polesny pulling out an absolute lap of the gods with the final half an hour of qualifying. Sat in the garage, particularly in the second session. Actually did it in both sessions, both the daylight and nighttime qualifying session. Just left it to the last and bang, put in an absolutely storming lap in the first one. It took him a while to get the top spot in GTE in the second one, but he managed to do it. DIS Sim Racing Lab second. Mugen, we didn't see Mugen yesterday, in third. Then MCM 4. And Mastaro Pescara in fifth, Unison 6th, ID Sim Sport 7, and the second MPE Mastaro Pescara car in 8th position, a little way further down. And then finally our GT3s. Let's bring them up now. It's up top by Volanti at the moment. Volanti racing by Esdex Sim Sports, but not by much over the CKR cars. So it was a bit of a shame we didn't see them during the week. I would love to see them take part in this race. Obviously, the Brazilian Blazing car would be very, very strong here, I would think. But well, I said we haven't seen them, but not sure they're going to be taking part in today's race. Then Glam Racing, I'm told there's a bit of drama going on between Glam Racing and Volanti. Whether that's just feeding me information to keep me excited, I don't know. So I'm going to be in the box for all 12 hours solo, so you have been warned. B32, sadly we didn't see them in the qualifying session. They sit in fourth, just 1 point behind Glam Racing, and 1 point ahead of Mugen, who also we didn't see yesterday. Then Gadget Huset and Teleforeningen, we said we didn't see the 188 car either in yesterday's qualifying session. So how does the grid look? Now, as a reminder for those that are unfamiliar with the series, the qualifying session is split into two different 2-hour sessions. We have one in the daylight and one in the darkness. So, and that can really affect how the car behaves, particularly with the update that's happened recently to R-Factor 2 and particularly the tyre performances. So a lot of drivers were really noticing the differences there. So let's have a look at our starting order then. And then I should take out cars that we are fairly certain are not taking part in the race today. So, on the front row. Also, as a reminder, these are in qualifying order by time, not by class. So we will have all 4 classes intermixed with one another, which I personally quite prefer. It's the Burst Esports pair on the front row. The DPI, not by much, 0.3 of a second ahead of its LMP2 brethren. I personally am not 100% sure who the starting drivers are for each team. We will see that when we get down to the grid itself. Then it is Juices on row 2 in the number 15 LMP car, alongside I'm trying to think. I was just trying to think. Somebody had cramp in their foot. I think that was the Glam Racing guy that had cramp. One of their drivers had cramp in the qualifying session. Then it's the next DPI car, the Unison number 17, is behind the Juicy's number 15 on row 2. Then it's the first of our GTEs. It's the Juicy's car, number 74, Wojciech Polesny, the sole qualifier of that car yesterday. Again, just storming performance, particularly in the first qualifying session. Put the number 74 on the top spot in GTE and on row 3 overall, alongside the MPE Musto Pescara Porsche, number 53. Then it's the DIS Sim Racing Lab car, the number 45 Porsche, starting on row 4, alongside the beautiful 717 Unison Racing BMW. That livery's grown on me. I was a little bit hesitant on that livery, I must be honest, at the beginning of the season, but that's grown on me, that car, as the time has gone on. Then it's the number 27, the MCM Motorsport Aston Martin, in 9th place on row 5, alongside the 585 car with the lead of the GT3s. That's the Azatec Simsports by Valencia Racing Audi. Beautiful red and black car with its various bits ready to do battle. Alicia Neto was the nighttime qualifier for that one. Oh no, we did see Alexander Sesha actually as the session went on. 404, there's the Glam Racing Audi. Now, they were very, very close together for a lot of the qualifying session, so expect them to be hot on each other's heels as we now come down to row 6. Then it's the 777 Gadget Husick car, the Corvette in 12th position. Then it's the 166, the ID Simsport car in P13, so the GT car struggled a bit in qualifying. Then it's the number 21 in P14, the Sen 9 Axle, the championship leading LMP2. There at the back because they didn't take part in qualifying, so it's great to see them on board. We've seen Alistair Young already doing some laps out there for the 4-driver car, so number 21 will be at the tail end of the field. That is our 14-car grid for the 12 hours of racing that we have. Now, if you hear me suddenly stop, it's because I'm hearing an announcement, and unfortunately I'm not very good at talking while somebody else is talking in my ear. Being I'm flying solo, that distraction will occur, so apologies. Also, you will see me grab a drink from time to time, so sometimes I will need to do that in between each in between my sentences. Again, apologies for that, which I realise is not the greatest thing to see whilst on the broadcast, but as I am flying solo, I make no apologies for it. Well, I do. I've already said it. Oh, where's the Unison car gone? He's doing the Kimi Räikkönen line. He's gone lost. We are advancing to the warm-up session now. So there was a free practice session. There was a free practice session that was running, and there is now a 15-minute warm-up session. So this will be the final check for our cars to get out there to make sure everything's working and seeing if they need to change them. They can't really make any alterations to the setup. All they can do is just make sure the wheels are working, make sure that the pedals are working, which sounds daft, but we've all had it as sim racers. You put in all the time to practice, and then your hardware just decides, you know what, I don't fancy it today, and just nope, just decides to sit down and have a break. Straight out comes the 45 EIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche. Now that's the one thing when we're not certain who is driving at any one time unless we are told. So I will be keeping an eye on messages. So any team that are watching, you are very welcome to feed me messages through Discord. And well, there's an exciting weather broadcast. Interlagos has got clear skies. Oh, rain! Look at that, miles away, but it's up there. Look, there it is. Brazil knows what rain is. They have a rainforest, that is true. It's very true, but not in Interlagos, not in Sao Paulo, they don't. That would be slightly odd, trying to drive in between trees. But either way, enough silliness. Actually, no, there will not be enough silliness. I'm here on my own, and I'm going to try and entertain as best I can. There's going to be a fair amount of daft moments I absolutely pursue. Now, as mentioned, the DIS Sim Racing Lab Porsche is the one team we do not know who is behind the wheel. And the reason why we don't know where they are, who they are. We know where they are, they're there. We can see them. We don't know who's behind the wheelies because, unlike the rest of the teams, the DIS Simulating Lab are all in one building, so the driver physically gets out of the rig and the next driver gets into it, as opposed to all the other teams where the game handles the driver changeover because one driver's in their own home and etc. etc. Well, they're all in their own home. That's why we don't know who the DIS Sim Racing Lab car is, because as far as the server is concerned, it's one driver, which we know it isn't. Well, unless it is, and they're mad if they try and do the entire 12 hours on their own, they'd be absolutely bonkers. But you never know. I've seen stranger things happen. So they're out there at the moment. Not many cars have come out to have a look at the warm-up. Who has? The DIS car has. Angel Benegas in the MCM Motorsports 27 has come out, along with Callum Wilson. It was Callum Wilson who had cramp during qualifying. He suddenly had to hand the car over to Jaka Kowalski during qualifying. He still set some pretty damn good lap times, in fairness. But yeah, that can't be fun, having cramp in your right foot whilst going through the motions. Coming down through Junxiao now. Again, I will have to check messages whilst I am obviously talking to yourselves. Okay, I'm just catching up with some more messages here. So each driver, or each team I should say, is allowed to make 6 cut tracks during the race. If they make more, the server will automatically give them a penalty. If the car has all 4 wheels outside the white line several times during the race, race control will give the following penalty. So the server will give automatic penalties as well as race control, which will be with us throughout the entire 12 hours. They may choose to give a drive-through, 10-second stop and go, a 30-second stop and go, a 60-second stop and go, and then successive 60-second stop and go. So you will start with drive-through, then 10, then 30, then 60, and on and on and on until they do as they're supposed to do, basically. Also, enjoy the race. We hope that at various points that our drivers do actually enjoy the race. Well, we hope they enjoy it throughout the race, indeed. So there we go. We will remind our drivers of that as well, and also I'll get informed, or hopefully get informed of penalties as they are served, or I can contact our race control directly and ask them. Oh dear, Robert Pound. That's now Robert Pound did a fantastic effort in qualifying yesterday, managing to get his car stuck on the outside of, I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was Bica de Pato, although I want to say it was actually at the S's before that. Either way, it was at the kind of at the crest of that middle field section. It was either at the S's, which is just after Laurangina and Ferradura, or at the Bica de Pato. It was one of the two. He'd gone too wide. He'd done it quite well because he'd gone quite some way off the track and just wedged his car essentially under the tyre barrier, and it took quite a while for him to dig himself out. He got saved by Tom Olmeninger in the burst car, I believe, before he was able to get back out there and get on with the job. So, I'm looking at who's with this. Looks like all the cars that have qualified, plus one, plus the 79X car, are now with us, which is great to see. So 2 DPIs, 3 LMP2s, 3 GT3s, and 6 GTEs. Now, generally, it's the GT3s that give us a really close racing, but I think our GTEs are going to be very, very good as well. Not taking it away from our LMPs and DPIs, but the pace difference in our 2 DPIs particularly was quite big. It was kind of a couple of seconds a lap difference between the Unison number 17 and the Burst number 18. So there's the team known as Happy Racing, or they've joined us as Happy Racing. It's Alex Sesha in the Azatec car. It's good that they're happy. We want happy drivers. All gone off the road is Callum Wilson, so he's exploring the track limits again. Well, now's the time to do it. Now see Zesha really. Wow, look at him on the steering lock he has to put in. That's quite impressive. And then lots of wheel soaring as he's gliding the Volanti Racing Audi down through the center S's. Goodness me. Oh, my good, Callum's trying to escape. No, he's not going to go out that way. We've seen the 404 Glam Racing Audi shed its rear wing a few times in the last few days, so that's not the fastest way of ever dealing with things. Damien Scovron, good to see him back with us once again. He is currently in control of the number 94. See how he is able to do in the race. They were certainly fairly close to the number 15 Juices car, but as I said, we didn't have the number 21, the 79 Axel car that Nakib Aslan is currently piloting of. Yes, he is. He's out there on track at the moment, the number 21. Excuse me. So we don't know how the 79 car stacks with the Burst and the Juices car. Being that the 79 car is championship leader, although not by very much, we would think that we're in for quite a close battle. But 12 hours is a long time to be in close combat with. So we'll see. There is Nakib Aslan in control of the number 21. I think it was around there that... now, that's speaking to Pato, that barrier ends a bit too soon. So, no, it wasn't there that the Juices car got themselves stuck. So, it must have been the chicane, the hairpin before that, which would be the S's, or just after Ferradura. So, it must have been there. Because that barrier ended pretty much where I thought the Juices car was stuck. Out of curiosity, what time does... I was going to say, what time does Aslan get on the board? Whoa! Ricardo Pera in the 53 Mistura car. This is a replay of an incident. He hasn't had a slow-mo crash. That would be quite impressive. But nope, he's... another discarded rear wing. There's a fair amount of souvenirs for the Orange Army, the Marshals out there. So, assuming Ricardo Pera has got himself going again. That's never ideal, but he's managed to get going. As the sim racing car had a moment. Yes, they've had the tail getting lively coming up the hill there, but manages to keep it on the straight and narrow. Nicely done. So, again, when we were talking to Yusuf bin Sahel during the practice session, he always assumed it was one specific member of the DIS Sim Racing Lab driver crew that was in there, and I've forgotten who he said he was. I've forgotten which driver he said was always in there. Oh, yellow flag for Ricardo Pera again, but I think he's probably gone into the pit lane a bit hot. We saw a few pit lane incidents yesterday, but only after the session had ended, in fairness. So, although in fairness, we did see a few kind of sideways moments that were a little bit interesting to see, but Michi Hoyer had the absolute creme de la creme of pit lane moments, going backwards into the pit lane after the session had finished on fire. I mean, there's got to be something said for style points for Michi Hoyer. Not that being on fire is generally the best way of conducting yourself, but like I say, the Burst car was quite some way in, the fastest of the two DPI cars, and the session had finished, so they can set the car on fire all they like. It'll reappear quite nicely in the second session, which it did. As we look at the DIS car, going through there, well, quite a few cars have now come out to just take advantage of the last 5 minutes of qualifying. There's Damien Scarborough just coming out of the pits, the 94 Burst Esports car. Out of the pit lane. No immediate traffic for him to deal with. Who's on a time lap? The DIS car is on a time lap, we think. No, they've done a lap, so... oh dear, Nakib Aslan's had a problem in the 79 Axel car, so he's just had to return himself back to the pit lane. Just saw a yellow flag next to his name. Alex Sesher has done a lap of 33.2 on the board, but that's not close to their qualifying time. There's more time. There we go, 32.2. Oh, that's why Angel Benegas had a yellow flag, as he introduced himself rather violently to the 79 Axel car. Truth alive. Oh dear. So that would be Nakib Aslan in the LMP car. Oh no! So the MCM car was trying to get out of one person's way and just dropped himself right in the way. That was Benegas. That unfortunately didn't anticipate there being an LMP2 car bearing down on him straight out of the pit lane. That is really unfortunate. Really, he was trying to do the right thing and ended up doing completely the wrong thing. Well, the best thing he could have done there was stayed on the racing line and backed out a little bit. But then, in fairness, Aslan should have kind of backed off a little bit. Didn't need to kind of barrel out of the pit lane like that. Okay, I was just listening to a race announcement there. That's why I suddenly went quiet. Oh, that goes on the live stream. So I wasn't actually certain if that one was actually being broadcast, but I was listening into that as well. That's our Big White Chief, John Fabricius Terrell, explaining there's might be a bit of a delay to the start of the race, but we'll mitigate that as much as we can. If there is going to be a delay, basically the warm-up session will be restarted, basically. So we'll see what happens there. Peter Vagapov, we didn't see you in the Unison car yesterday. So we'll see how he can do in the number 17 car, just working his way down through the corners up towards the Bica de Pato. There is the Unison team. All 5 drivers ready to do battle for Unison, down through Mugello, down into Junshao, and then back up the hill again. As I mentioned yesterday, the undulation change is huge, or changes, because it's up and down in Interlagos. It's a very hilly circuit. Is that a time lap for Vagapov? Last one was, so, and this one's going to be 1:21.0 last time. Improvements? 1:21.035, so consistent, if nothing else. Yuri Makiyalpi or Jopi, I'm not indeed certain how that's pronounced, apologies there. So the number 74 Deuce's car. The Wojtek Polesny has actually let somebody else play with the toys. There's Damien Skovron in the number 94. And just coming through. I was trying to not need a track map, but it looks like I'm going to need to. So I was trying to do the pronunciations properly, but no, I can't do it. I'm English, I don't do foreign moves. Oh yes, that's true. Yusuf Binti-Hale made a unique track map with different corner names. I might try and get hold of that as the session continues. Juha Maki Jalpi then in the 74. Oh, that looks very, very loose. Coming down through the center S's. So there you go. Wojtek Polesny, Tommy Jansen, Yuri Babasa, Roy De Munich, and of course Yuri Maki Jalpi. Just bringing that car to a halt and returning that one to the pits. So not sure what time he was able to. Well, he did 22. No, he didn't. He did. Where is he? 30.7 was his last set time. Again, not sure how representative that is of his overall performance, but we will see as the time goes on. So this session coming to an end in about 20 seconds' time. Now, as was explained by John Fabricius Terrell, that we might have a bit of a delay to the start of the session. We will see. And there we go. So grid is set, and we will be starting. Ready or not, here we come. The practice session clock has hit 0. Warm-up session, I should say, has hit 0. And now any laps out there will be allowed to finish within reason. Yellow in sector 2 and 3, I think we can fairly well ignore those at this point. Now, is Damien Skovron going to complete his lap or come into the pits? That's always the difficulty with Interlagos, is you never know whether they're going to finish or bail on their laps. And that was a 1... Never mind. The time reset before I had a chance to read what the time was. Well. For all the talking that's been done, we've had the practice, we had the qualifying. Let's head to commercial before we head to the race.
The 2022 Endurance eRacing World Championship brought to you in partnership with Viper Gaming by Patriots, Azatec Sim Sports, Global Flix, Motorvision.tv, Sten Goldman, ESTV, and Film Vault Limited.
Racing for Green is here to help you carbon neutralize your racing. By planting new trees, Racing for Green offers to make your racing carbon neutral. We already have the calculations, contacts, infrastructure, deals and solutions ready for you to easily buy carbon neutral laps on any racetrack. It doesn't matter if you are a racing fan, team owner, driver, sponsor or partner. Anyone can buy CO2 neutral laps in the Racing for Green webshop and trade CO2 emissions for New Forest. Racing for Green.
Just think about the fun things you do online. Diving into movies you love. Shopping. Enjoying free Wi-Fi with your morning coffee. Wait, who's that guy? Meet the Digital Snooper. It can be your internet service provider peeking at what you do online, or a cyber criminal on a mission to snitch your credit card info, or a hacker at the next table trying to steal your sensitive data. Uh-oh. But don't worry. NordVPN keeps all these snoopers away. It makes your internet activity private, protects you from accessing dangerous websites, and lets you enjoy your favorite content securely, even while away from home. The best part? It's just a click. Yep, internet security is that easy.
You can get NordVPN today at a 60% discount by visiting gtr24h.org/VPN.